Come my way, a way that takes me past all my escape routes, a way shadowed by mountains serenely floating overhead and with flattened molehills all around me. Come my truth, a truth that has no loopholes or moth holes or frayed edges, a truth as exciting as fire and as bright and as powerful as water and as fluid, as solid as the earth, but as transparent as the air. Come, my life, a life that devotes all to love, a life that coaxes and ungums the works and gets me to waltzing on the hot coals of my amazement, a life that precedes all the words of my mouth and survives them into silence. These words to open and begin shaping our space by Mark Bellatini. Welcome to this now peaceful morning. We're glad that you're here. We welcome you into this space and invite you to nurture whatever it is in you that needs to be nurtured, to soothe in you whatever it is that needs calming, to allow yourself to simply be and to be held by this place, by this space, and by these people. There are many things you could be doing this morning. Among them, preparing to watch a soccer game on TV. I am readily aware that any of you who are interested in World Cup have made a conscious choice to not watch this England-Senegal game that is coming on at 11 o'clock. Not that I noticed. Occupational hazard is that I have a very immovable commitment on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock. And so here we are. And I'm glad we are here. How good it is to be together, to share music, to share life, to share breath, to share song, to share laughter. And so we are glad you're here because it is you that makes the tapestry of this place. It is you in your being here and in your becoming, as we are all becoming, that helps us in our common effort, in our common motion and movement toward love. We are incredibly excited to not only welcome you, it's nice that you're here, but it's incredibly nice that Danielle Somerville is here with us, offering her gifts and skills of the harp into this community. Danielle teaches piano at Cascade School of Music. I first met her in Crossing at the sound bath that we've been having here on Tuesday nights that is now on hiatus as Kevin is heading off to India to learn more things that will, I'm sure, enhance the sound baths next year when they come back. But she plays at the sound bath there, and we are thrilled and delighted to have her shaping our space as we continue our new practice of having a guest musician locally join us on the first Sunday of the month. And then this being the first Sunday of the month, we're beginning a new theme for this month of December, and it is appropriate for this time of year. Wonder is what we'll be considering and meditating and steeping ourselves in during these colder and darkening days of December. And this morning in particular, we are turning our attention to the idea of mysticism and connecting with that which is deeper and greater than all of us, but perhaps found in each of us. And so it is fitting that on a morning like this, we would take a deep breath and just calm ourselves into this space. And we could not have done better than to have a gentle falling snow. So none of us who are up here will take any offense if your eyes are not upon us, but are drifting and daydreaming outside of the window. I will be as well. We'll invite you to join us and rise in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, Gathered Here. Sometimes we do this as a round, but let's just all sing it together this time and find ourselves in that chanting, hypnotic drone that sometimes happens when voices join in unison. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, draw near. One more time. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit, Spirit, draw near. Spirit, draw near. Spirit, draw near. Spirit, draw near.
Good morning. I'm Carrie Bonnet. My daughter Mira and I will offer the chalice lighting reading, and my son Calvin and my husband Mark will do the lighting. Our reading today comes from Julianne Lepp. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers.
May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths.
Yeah, see, it works. It's amazing. If you were with us at the parade yesterday, it's just amazing. You walk down the street and you wave and everyone waves back. It's like magic. We had a fantastic and fun time at the parade yesterday. We walked down the middle of the street and we waved and we sang songs, and we are grateful to Anne and Shannon and Lynn and all those folks who helped organize us for that. And it was just a lot of fun. So thank you. And you know what? As it happens, we'll be doing it again next year. So if you missed it, you'll know where to find us. Today begins the Jars of Joy sale today to support the work of Fireflies. Fireflies is our program where we introduce books and learning materials to children who might experience some difficulties during the summer. We say battle that summer slide, and so we try and partner with local schools to help fund and distribute books and educational supplies for them. So Jars of Joy is their, I don't know, are we doing the flash this year, John? I don't know if we're doing the flash this year or not. Shayla does the announcements usually, y'all. That's why this is gonna be rough. I usually kind of zone out and think about the service during this part. So Shayla will be back next week. Yeah, she is under the weather and probably watching. Shayla, feel better. Jars of Joy is outside and will be here next week as well. They make great Christmas presents. Young Sounds is happening today. Young Sounds is our children and youth music group. It's called Young Sounds because you don't have to sing to be a part of it. All you have to do is either be able to make a sound or move or sing. And so we meet after church on the first and third Sundays of the month, and we're meeting today because today is the first Sunday. So we invite everyone of all skill levels and ages to join us for that after church today at 11:30 right down here. And we're singing next week as a tempting pool teaser for next week. The newcomer welcome will be in the Founders Fireside Library today, also at 11:30. And this week, XYZ, our generational group, XYZ, it's generations X, Y, and Z, will be gathering this Thursday, not Tuesday, at Silver Moon Brewery at 7 p.m. for trivia. And if you'd like to go to that, please RSVP to Julia Montoya. This Friday night at 6:30 is the reception for Verlene Arnold's art show that'll be in Linus Pauling coming up. And it is a one-person show aptly titled One Woman, Many Quilts. If you know Verlene, you know that she has an amazing gift for the artistry of fabric work, and we'll be able to enjoy her art over the next few weeks. And if you'd like to help kick that off, that's Friday at 6:30. The UUFCO Homeless Outreach continues to collect washable blankets, warm gloves, and hand warmers, and adult-sized thermal underwear. So you can donate those in the office, or I believe there is a collection spot at the beginning of the entry of church. And our youth toy and gift drive for the Giving Plate has been fantastic. We've collected so many toys and gifts for that drive. At one point, the office was near full. And next Sunday will be the last Sunday for the toy drive. And also next Sunday is our Nourish's monthly produce and perishables drive. So you can bring toys, you can bring perishable foods to donate to Nourish as they continue their work of helping support food banks in the local area. Two new holiday-ish, maybe I'd say these are holiday-ish events for December. One is on December 13th, and that is a service here in this sanctuary at 6 o'clock. And it's, if you've ever heard of this, it's called a Blue Christmas service, or the Longest Night service, or I don't really care for the holidays service, or I find this time of year frankly depressing service. So that is a space for that kind of contemplation and holding. This time of the year can be difficult for many people. And we know that sometimes when things are difficult, it is good to be together in community. So that is on December 13th at 6 o'clock. And this is something we've long wanted to do here, but never have. On the 16th, on Friday, we'll meet here at 6 o'clock as well to go caroling. Good old-fashioned caroling. So we'll meet here at the church. We'll run through some carols, and then we'll split up and divide, and we'll find some folks who might not be able to get out into the world quite as much, or folks who spend a lot of time at home, and we'll go do some of that good old classic standing outside of the door and offering people the gift of song together. So that's on Friday, December 16th. And that is your morning announcements, and I will offer on Chayla's behalf blessings on your day, and I will then remember that we did not sing our chalice response, and I'll invite you to stand up and do just that. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Give a mic. Give a mic. I don't have one. Life, the shape of, there's not one up here. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Please be seated. Oh, thanks. I'd like to invite our young and our young at heart up to our rug for our time for all ages. And as those folks are coming up, Paula will play some mystical music for us. Spot right here.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Amy Brock, and I'm the Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth. And this month we have a new theme.
We do.
We are learning about wonder. And I was trying to think about what it means to wonder. And as I thought about it, I realized that wonder is really more of like a feeling. It's kind of like something that happens when we experience something that we weren't expecting or something that was really different or unique. Has anybody ever felt a feeling that you would call wonder before? Think about it for a second.
I have.
Yeah, I think I have. But in case you haven't, or if you're not sure, I tried to bring some wonder to share with you today. And so I'm going to need a couple of helpers. Mira, would you come help me? Okay. Tessa, would you like to come help? Maddie, do you want to come help? Okay. So I need somebody to hold this. Can you come up on stage so you don't fall over? There you go. That would not be fun. And then I'm going to let you stand next to her and open this over that very carefully. I have paper towels in case it comes undone. And then you get to hold this back stand next to Mira. There we go. I'll come down here. All right, so whenever you're ready, Tessa, you can open the can of sparkling water and pour it into the container that's in there. Thank you. I thought it might be a little bit bubbly, so we have 2 containers. And when it's done bubbling, Mira, I'll let you take the little container out of the big one. Yeah. All right. So we have sparkling water and we have raisins. Now, which do you think is heavier, drops of water or raisins? If you had to guess. Raisins. And what usually happens when something's heavier? Does it float or does it sink?
Sinks.
It sinks. Well, let's see what happens. I'm going to let Maddie drop. You're going to drop them one by one into the water. Oh, it's not sinking.
All the way to the bottom, and then it
Popped back
all the way
up.
back to the top.
Oh, some of them are sinking and some of them are floating.
Nope, back up. Nope, it did go back up.
They're going up and down.
Yeah.
Wow. One of them staying down. That was unexpected. How did that happen?
I don't know.
I don't know. Did you put a spell on the water? Is that what happened? No? No spells on water? The water is so yummy, they didn't want to drown, Mira said. Yeah. Well, that's the cool thing about wonder, is that when we experience something that we weren't expecting to happen, we can make different meaning out of it. And so it might have been a spell, or it might have just been that they wanted to jump up and down, or it might be that the bubbles in the carbonated water came around the raisins and are helping them come up and down. It just depends on how you want to see it. Sure. And so that's kind of what we think about when we think about mysticism. So throughout history, there are people that are called mystics who kind of look for experiences like this in the world. So whenever they experience something that is unique or wonderful, they take the time to just think about what that means for them and just study it. And today we're going to be exploring more about mysticism and wonder in this space and in our RE spaces. We're going to be exploring wonder all month in our RE spaces. And so with that, we will close our time together here, but I need some people to help me say the Children's Covenant. In this place, I am kind. In this place, I am loving. In this place, I am a friend to the earth and all animals and people. In this place, I am loved.
If you all want to get up and do your thing. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Amy. Where is it that you turn when things go wrong? When it seems like your foundation is shaken and you're not sure what to do? I'm proud to say that this congregation and fellowship is a place that people turn, and that can sometimes be emotionally or spiritually. It can sometimes be socially. And sometimes it can be financially. Sometimes when people have a crisis in their life and they don't know where to turn, this fellowship is a place that they can turn. On the first of the month, we collect our greater community collection. And in December, we always collect on the first of the month at the beginning of this giving season for the Minister's Discretionary Fund. This fund is created so that members of this congregation, community members, and strangers that we have never met might benefit from the generosity of this fellowship as we live out our values of compassion and care. This can show up in all kinds of different ways. Perhaps it's somebody's electricity bill that they're just having a hard time making ends meet to pay for that month. I have a stack of grocery cards that I keep in my car so that this fellowship can reach out to those folks that I might cross paths with, that I have a conversation with and can see a clear need. They could be touched by the love and giving of this place. In the past, it's been things like a musician has reached out, a Unitarian Universalist young musician who really wants to go to this conference so they can serve their congregation in new and exciting ways. And I happen to know them and think this congregation could help with that by helping with a scholarship to this conference. Sometimes it's a local organization that needs something immediately for an immediate need. Say a young girl has her bike stolen, and there's a community reach out to say, how could our community help replace this young person's bike so that they might have their faith restored when it was once removed because a bike was stolen? The Minister's Discretionary Fund allows this congregation to be dynamic in its compassion. It allows us to respond in ways that our annual giving and our budget have not foreseen to allow for. And so on this morning, we take our offering for the Minister's Discretionary Fund as we begin December, this season of giving and generosity. We appreciate your contribution to this fund so that this congregation can continue to be generous in the community and to those of us who are in need. People who gather in this fellowship share life together. Because we share life together, we share joys and sorrows with one another. If there's a joy or a sorrow that you have in your heart that you'd like to light a candle for while I read the written joys and sorrows, please feel free to do that at any time. Donna Dopkin shares that my father, Kurt Latzko, passed away on Thanksgiving Day, just 6 weeks short of his 100th birthday. He and my mother raised us as Unitarians and were lifelong progressives. My sorrow is tempered by knowing he had such a full and rich life over many, many years. Rest in peace, Dad. And Deborah Slade shares with us this morning that after a loss of Tucker 2 years ago, and my sister's passing in May, I had hoped for respite for just a bit. This last Friday, I was diagnosed with lung cancer. But no worries, she says. I am blessed with a life that has been good, and as they say, I will fight the good fight. I wish I were here in Bend for this, but we'll have treatment in Portland. May all of you have an amazing rest of the year. Linda Wetzel shares a joy. Thank you to everyone who worked on creating joy at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship through the beautiful holiday trees for all of us to enjoy this season. The harvesters, the trimmers, the artists, young and old. Indeed, these trees don't just, oh, that's not on. That should be on. Oh, Leora just tried? Oh. Oh, well. Well, it's not going to work, is it? All right. To the harvesters, to the trimmers, and the artists, young and old. And yeah, so seriously, like Dave, Gordon, Lou, right? Yeah, they showed up. We walked in and they were just already up. They went out and got them, and then they were beautifully decorated by a whole crew. And then we had a family evening, deck the halls, where kids came in and decorated our large tree out there. So thanks to everyone for making this place feel festive and beautiful. And we'll work on that. Annis Henson, our Ohio dear friend Sherry, is in the hospital with COVID and seriously ill. Becky Dabrowski shares concerns for Debbie Schmerber while she fights pulmonary infection. Christina Ziegler shares that she is excited for the reception for Verlene Arnold's solo quilt show on Friday, December 9th from 6 to 7. We know when you sneak announcements into the Joys and Sorrow. Joyce Berg-Brown shares another joy, one of the greatest ones. A bundle of joy arrived on November 13th, weighing in at 6 pounds, 7 ounces. Welcome to our family, Daniel Earl Roper. And Ben Morgan shares into this community a sorrow for losing my soulmate, Cheryl, to cancer 4 years ago, and a joy for finding a new home in Redmond and so many friends, a true blessing. As we think about mysticism today, I'll invite us to turn our attention to our breath and our bodies as we begin to calm our mind, and I'll invite us into these words of prayer by Manish Mishra Marzetti, entitled Slowing Down. We'll follow this with some shared silence together. In the midst of running from my problems, from myself, from one necessary task to the next, I listen to that impulse within me, that one that reminds me that I could keep running blindly my whole life, days and months speeding into years, losing all perspective. I'm reminded that learning how to rest and abide in you is in part how I learn to rest and abide in me. I need you, source of all creation, as deeply as I need myself, as deeply as I long for comfort, reassurance, guidance, and trust. Help me remember, beloved, that the longings of my heart are never satisfied by moving too fast, but rather by the slow, languid meander. Help me remember that my weary spirit may be weary because of all the motion and movement, and that I can choose to slow down. So, source of all creation, be with me and help me make that choice. Travel with me as I make that choice.
Today's reading is entitled The Drive by Marcus Borg, who was an American theologian and author focused on the historical Jesus. It happened as I was driving along through a sunless, rural Minnesota landscape. The only sounds were the wind and the drone of the car. I had been on the road for about 3 hours. The skylight suddenly changed. It became yellowy and golden, and it suffused everything I saw. The snow-covered fields left and right, the trees bordering the fields, the yellow and black road signs, the highway itself. Everything glowed. Everything looked wondrous. I was amazed. I had never experienced anything like that before, unless perhaps in very early childhood, and so long ago I no longer remembered it. At the time, I felt the falling away of the subject-object distinction of ordinary, everyday consciousness. That dome of consciousness in which we experience ourselves as in here and the world out there. I became aware not just intellectually, but experientially at the connectedness of everything. I saw the connectedness. I experienced it. My sense of being in here while the world was out there momentarily disappeared. That experience lasted maybe a minute and then faded. but it had been the richest minute of my life. It was not only full of wonder, but also filled with a strong sense of knowing, of seeing more clearly and truly than I ever had before.
This arrogant king wanted to get to the bottom of this idea of the mystical experience. And he was a very, very powerful king. And so he decided that the way to do this would be to gather the most renowned and powerful mystics of all the religious faiths. And so he did just that. He summoned them to his castle and gathered them in a room. And the Christian mystic and the Buddhist mystic and the Sikh mystic and the Muslim mystic and the Jewish mystic all gathered. And the king said, "You all have a secret that I'd like to know. It's what the mystical experience feels like. And I need you to tell me what that experience is. Well, the mystics, all sitting in a circle, looked at each other and just smiled, really big. And then one by one, beginning with the Christian mystic, all just shook their head. They stood up and they all walked out of the room. The king had wasted his time. The mystics knew that the mystical experience is not one that can be described with mere words. In fact, they would say that that is one of the attributes of the mystical experience, is that it is innately ineffable, cannot be properly described. It is beyond the experience of words. Indeed, sometimes beyond the experience of logic and of reason. If we were to continue this story, the king might run out into the hallway and say, I'm sorry, I realize that was kind of a stupid question. Come back in. And then maybe they would slowly go back in and he'd say, can you tell me what you can? And so the mystics sit down and the Buddhist starts and says, well, it's this feeling of oneness, but that doesn't really get at it. And the Sikh's like, yeah, it's kind of like that, kind of like oneness, but not altogether that. And the Jewish rabbi says, and it feels really, kind of connected and good. And the Sikh's like, yeah, kind of like that, but that doesn't quite get it. And then the Christian mystic says, and I feel really connected with everything, but that seems to not quite get at it. And the king sighs and shrugs and says, please go on your way. There is a limit to how much you can talk about those spirit experiences that are something apart. It's fascinating that beyond doctrine and culture and practice, that there is something about this idea of a mystical experience shared across traditions or no tradition at all. No matter what a person's religion, or if they've never crossed the door of a mosque, a synagogue, or a church, if they are an ardent atheist or the deepest theist among us, at the end of the day, no matter what we believe, we're all playing the same game. No matter the practice or no practice, whether you're spiritual or not spiritual, we are all a part of the same reality. I often end memorial services by acknowledging the fact that we are in the presence and a part of a deep and abiding mystery that we simply can never understand or know, but can acknowledge that we are a part of. And what is this mystery that we are a part of, this mystery that the mystics commune with? What is the mystery? I breathe a deep sigh of sermonic relief that I can't tell you what the mystery is. It is ineffable. It's what we are a part of, and that takes a lot of the pressure off for me, that you're not now expecting me to describe the mystery. We can think about it, and we can talk about it. We can skirt around the edges, and we like to. We are a rational religion. We like to describe it with science. We like to describe it with our words and emotions. But in the end, there's no there's no figuring it all out. In the end, it is a mystery, always has been and always will be. How strange would it be if we actually had definitive answers to this? If somehow somebody showed up someday and said, here's the absolute truth of existence, all reality that ever was and ever will be, and your place in it, I am quite certain we might not be able to hold that truth, for it would be too grand for us to grasp. Though some would say the answer is 42. Those people giggling are people who might have crossed paths with a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. In this book, Douglas Adams writes that they found the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything, and it is 42 of all things. In the book, this answer 42 was computed by Deep Thought, the second greatest computer ever. And the descendants of Deep Thought's creators are upset because when they finally got the answer to this question, this 7.5 million year project, they got the answer 42. The thing is that when asked to produce the ultimate answer, they realized that they actually didn't have the question that they were trying to answer. This is Deep Thought, the computer who generated it. And so Deep Thought, this incredible computer, admits that it's not capable of figuring out the question. But it can help design an even more powerful computer and process that can figure out the question. And this new computer will incorporate living beings into the computational matrix, and it will run for 10 million years, and it will be called Planet Earth. So here we are, perhaps figuring out the question to that greatest answer to the mystery of life by experiencing it. At the heart of mysticism is experience, not rational thought. And it can be said that mystical insights are attained in two basic ways, either by direct, some kind of divine intervention that shows up, and this often happens in Western traditions like Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, or in the Eastern by going inward and being contemplative, such as in Buddhism, Hinduism, and Taoism. And of course, we know that's a false polarity. All of these traditions commingle between divine intervention and the divine just showing up, and the work and practice sometimes it can take to go inside. But in any case, this idea of a mystical experience has to do with the unity that we can sometimes get a fleeting glimpse of. When those distinctions between things fall away, and like our reading Marcus Borg, simply driving on a road has, as he says, the most profound minute of his life unexpectedly. And there he is, enraptured with that feeling of being a part of the one. In mysticism, we find another way of knowing. And this doesn't negate or discredit at all our rational part of our mind that enjoys breaking things down into separate pieces so that we can understand them, so that we can distinguish one thing from another and go about the days of our lives. Empirical knowledge is good, and we love the rational brain. And we also know there are other ways of gathering and being open to knowledge. An intuitive level, an experiential level. Ralph Waldo Emerson, the 19th century Unitarian and thinker and general nature wanderer, defined these three characteristics of mysticism. First, he said, mystical knowledge is mysterious, and it's just simply not within our power to fully grasp. He wrote in the language of his time that man is a stream whose source is hidden. Second, he says, mysticism involves a sense of knowing or joining with. Knowing or joining, it sounds like it's a scale. So if you don't have full-on oneness rapture, it still counts as mysticism. A sense of knowing or joining with ultimate reality, Whether God as we understand that is a word, or it's a connection, or a relationship, or it's nature. And thirdly, Emerson believed that we can't create mystical experiences or bring them about. They come in their own time. And again, I breathe a sigh of relief. The pressure is off. You can practice all day long. You can sit on your meditation mat day in, day out, and that doesn't guarantee you a mystical experience. All right, nice. But then what might? We can't guarantee a mystical experience, but what does bring about an openness to this kind of experience, this kind of oneness? And it seems like there are many, many different ways, and likely only limited by the number of people on this planet. But people can find mystical union and experience, that moment of fleeting acknowledgement and understanding and experience of oneness, maybe in conversation, or an acknowledgement of relationship, or maybe a moment of exuberant celebration, or perhaps a moment of crushing pain or remorse, perhaps in passion, bodily passion, or passion of career, or passion of doing or moving. Maybe it's in a moment of surprise when you're not expecting it. Maybe in dreams, maybe in meditation, or in prayer, or contemplation, or substances not of your own body, of chanting, of dancing, exercise. You get the idea. There's no one way to open ourselves to the possibility of having those fleeting yet beautiful and gorgeous moments of connection. I think I might have had one yesterday. And this is to lower the bar and normalize this for you, that it can happen just yesterday. But I don't nap often, and I took a 30-minute nap yesterday, and I went under so hard and was woken so quick by a noise from the other room that when I came to, in that middle state, I really did have these thoughts and feelings of, what is this thing I am a part of? This room that I am in? This family that surrounds me, and my body that I am in? How strange is it? And how beautiful. And then I got up and realized I needed to cook dinner. But that moment of transition, I felt it. I felt connected to something. In that moment, it was the strangeness of it all. And that's enough. These moments are open to us. And how do we open further? Sometimes it's by just not knowing what comes next, by allowing ourselves to follow whatever it is in front of us, however life is moving within us, and however we are dancing with what is around us. I've invited Paula and Danielle to do just that this morning as they play for us something that they don't know what it will be or where it comes from, but we will experience together today. mystery. These words by Gordon McKean. Cautiously. Let us go cautiously then to the end of our certainty, to the boundary of all we know, to the rim of uncertainty, to the perimeter of the unknown which surrounds us. Reverently. Let us go with a sense of awe, a feeling of approaching the powerful holy, whose lightning slashes the sky, whose persistence splits concrete with green sprouts, whose miracles are present in every place and moment. Hopefully, out of our need for wholeness in our own lives, the reconciliation of mind and heart, the conjunction of reason and passion, the intersection of the timeless with time. Quietly, for no words will explain the inarticulate or summon the presence that is always present, even in our absence. But what shall I say? Anything. Any anger, any hope, any fear, any joy, any request, any word that comes from the depth of being addressed to being itself. Or perhaps nothing, no complaint, no request, no entreaty, no thanksgiving, no praise, no blame, no pretense of knowing or of not knowing. Simply be in the intimate presence of the mystery, unashamed, unadored, unafraid, and at the end, say amen. Will you please rise as we begin to go into our day and say the covenant of this fellowship. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Go into this day with that feeling of peace, with that assurance of being, with the muffled murmur of a baby cry, the shuffle of feet, with whatever it is that fills your senses. Go with the peace of this place and this space into this day. Amen.